Now, on Friday, U.S. President Joe Biden said that he intended to defeat his Republican rival Donald Trump in the November polls. The Democrat candidate gave no signs that he would consider dropping out of the race after his fellow Democrats were left dismayed by his debate performance. In his speech, the U.S. president even acknowledged his age and his debate performance as a setback in the electoral race.
I know I'm not a young man. State the obvious. Well, I know. I don't walk as easy as I used to. I don't speak as smoothly as I used to. I don't debate as well as I used to. But I know what I do know. I know how to tell the truth. I know right from wrong. And I know how to do this job. I know how to get things done. And I know, like millions of Americans know, when you get knocked down, you get back up.
However, the pressing question is, will Democrats replace Biden? More than a dozen Democrats told American outlet Politico that major Democratic donors as well as Biden supporters have suggested it is time for Biden to end his campaign.
He doesn't want to leave. He is fighting those who suggest that he needs to step down. He will continue to do so. From everything I've seen, he has the support of his family. I'm sure they do support him. But as far as the Democratic Party is concerned, the concerns they're expressing are behind the scenes.
Trying to remove Biden will mean overturning the results of the state primaries, the votes that took place earlier this year that confirmed Biden as the overwhelming pick for election in November. In this year's primaries, Biden won around 95% of the nearly 4,000 delegates. If Biden were to step down from the race, the Democratic Party will face a complex and uncertain process of selecting his replacement. Potential candidates for the nomination could include Vice President Kamala Harris, as well as Governors Gavin Newsom, Gretchen Whitmer, J.B. Pritzker, and several others who could be placed in nomination. An open and contested convention would involve over 700 party insiders playing a significant role in picking the new nominee. Vice President Harris might have an advantage due to her current position. Nevertheless, garnering the support of party insiders will be crucial for Biden and Harris, and the unfavorable poll numbers for Harris could pose a challenge in winning over key figures within the party. Even if Kamala Harris were to secure the nomination easily, she will still require her own vice presidential candidate, leading to a contest among the party's rising stars to be her running mate. Since declaring his bid for a second term, Biden and his team have consistently maintained he is running for re-election. He has dominated every primary and caucus. He has secured over 85% of the total votes. However, the significant pressure stemming from a poor debate performance as well as a declining polling numbers could alter this reality. Elizabeth Loras is a non-resident senior fellow at the Atlantic Council. She's now joining us from Washington, D.C. Madam Loras, thank you very much for making time for us and welcome to WION The World is One. We've heard what Joe Biden said. He says he is no longer young. He knows he has a problem walking, but he says if you fall down, you get up. But Democrats are not convinced. Do you think Americans will replace Biden? Can they replace Biden?
Biden is no Ronald Reagan. You know, when Reagan ran in '84, age was an issue. But he played that up very well in terms of, wisdom and experience. Unfortunately, Joe Biden is just not as robust as Reagan was back then, and his age definitely is a deficit. However, it is going to be difficult to replace him now, especially since former President Obama met Biden yesterday at the White House and came out saying that he still supports Joe Biden. So the party is going to fall in line, despite numerous people in the media and in the party saying, get him out. My gosh, you've had 4 prominent columnists for New York Times, which generally carries water for the Democratic Party, saying, Joe has to go. But as you mentioned, President Biden then needs to release his delegates from all those primaries at the convention. And my understanding is he cannot do it on the first ballot. It would have to be on the second ballot. And so the question is, there's some primaries out there. He's on the, he was on the ballots for all these primaries. So legally, it would be very difficult to switch him out now. Also, he has taken in a tremendous amount of money to his PAC, to his campaign. Legally, that money is not so easily transferable. I'm not saying it can't be done, but there are also legal issues here as well. This needed to be thought about 1, 2, 3 years ago. The Democrats have put themselves in a bind by selecting him again.
Elizabeth, did you watch the debate yesterday?
I did.
In your own view, did it pass off as a bad night or a bad cold?
I think it was revealing. It was really, by the way, I think that CNN did a very good job in the questions. I thought they were objective. Having mics off was a blessing. And I thought the candidates were relatively well behaved until they got into it, calling each other criminals and children. However, President Biden flubbing the answer to that first question, holy cow, the problem with that is it set the tone for the next hour and a half. I was sitting there nervous, like, oh my gosh, is he going to mess up again? Whereas, Trump, he had the usual Trump facial expressions, but he was relatively well behaved. He, as usual, spoke in terms of hyperbole, the greatest this, the biggest, the worst. That's partly to be accepted. But I think overall it was a fabulous service to the American people to see the two of them debate one-on-one and with the mics off.
With the mics off. I like that point. Thank you very much, Elizabeth Lauras. She is a non-resident senior fellow at the Atlantic Council. Elizabeth, thank you for talking to us today. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.